All right, so I want to make this video because I saw something a couple days ago that really made me very unsettled. And it was on TikTok with this guy uh, playing peekaboo with this little girl, and it was like she looked in his pants and he looked down her shirt. Then I saw a screenshot of Twitter. This guy who basically was advocating for um, LGBTQP, and it literally made me want to throw up. And now knowing too that people want to point the finger at the president and the Clintons and whoever the hell's out there, they want to use every partisan means and methods to defame the other. And my whole point is, why can't we just freaking come together over some freaking kids, man? Why can't we just do that? Just put the partisan BS, blue, red, you know, conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, put it aside for kids. Instead of trying to make everything a freaking voting point, why not watch out for kids? And I'm thinking to myself, like, has it come to that? Have people really and literally going to use kids as political footballs? I mean, think about the political football at the border, okay? There's so many kids who are presented at the border who are with adults who are not their parents, who are not their guardians, who are not anyone near their loved one, but are being used and trafficked for the sole purposes of getting somebody into the country. And folks want to use that as a political football as well too. Oh, well, you let somebody in and yada yada. But then who's the ones that are the victims in that are little kids? I mean, just completely ignore the fact that little kids may be in the possession of adults who are straight pedophiles, whether they're women or men. Why not just look at that? Yeah, separate the freaking kids from those parents, because you don't know if those kids, I mean, there was already reports about it happening. So what do? You try to protect the kids, but then people want to make it a partisan issue. I mean, it's just BS. And the reason why I got like a stake in this is because me coming from being molested as a kid, I know when I think I had to be like 5 or 6, when this chick took advantage of me. It's like, a babysitter. And then the next babysitter, I mean, they had access to all kinds of stuff that their dad had collections of these freaking magazines. See, it may not be magazines now, it might still be magazines now for these kids, but you as a parent, I'm gonna give you some directions here in a minute, okay? But this is some real stuff that kids are having to face. And the truth about it is, everybody wants to deny, the presence of God, but you have the actual presence of Satan that's coming through to destroy children. I mean, what do you think half the abortion industry is with, black kids? I mean, nobody can talk about Planned Parenthood destroying black lives, that these the ones don't matter because they're not so-called not living, but they're not black lives, right? Got more black kids dying in New York than they are born from abortion. But we won't talk about that because that's, taboo. Let's not talk about that though, right? Let's not talk about the truth about children being trafficked and used by adults who are sick and twisted. And let me just get this, make sure I make something real straight. My friends who are gay or lesbian, they want nothing to do with that freaking P, dude. They want nothing to do with pedophilia at all. And those folks who do, if I find out, bad day, dude, bad day. So there's more here for us as adults to put aside for the sake of children, because children, they don't deserve that. It doesn't matter where kids are coming from. This is happening all throughout the entire world, which is so weird that, BLM is so upset about slavery when actual slavery is happening right now, and it's happening with little children. And it's happening in a specific religion across the water. It's happening right now, but, we don't talk about that either. Let's just keep it real, okay? For all of the partisan stuff, all of the things everybody wants to point out, but then kids are being used for this type of stuff. It's evil. And whether or not you want to impugn the president, you want to impugn the Clintons, you want to impugn anybody else, that's completely your freaking deal, dude. It is. which is the reason why so many people are lacking and feeling the void there that's left by journalists, because journalists actually aren't doing what their actual job is, which is just to follow the story where the story leads, instead of trying to get to a specific outcome that protects or watches over somebody's specific political interests. Let the story go where the story goes. Let the story go to its end. But this needs to end, and we need to take this a little bit more seriously as a society, because children don't deserve that. Kids aren't born to become slaves by some sick adults. I'm gonna call it just what it is. It's freaking sick. And that's the reason why these fools got, they get put in certain wings of prisons, because anybody that has a heart and understands what that actually is, understands what they're doing to these children. That's some real stuff right there. It is our duty as adults, as hopefully thinking, conscious, understanding people, that when you look at children, you're not looking at them as little tools. But if it's all about partisanship, then, you got an issue, dude. Like, straight up, you guys got an issue. If you want to point the finger at somebody else besides taking responsibility for yourself, you got an issue. Just follow the story where the story goes. And I'm going to leave it like one note, okay? You parents, I'm not a parent. For God's sake, I wish I was, but I'm not. You need to understand who you're leaving your children with. If you got a babysitter, don't just go and trust some background check. You need to demand their phone, demand their iPad, demand to look on their computer. You need to be like a freaking FBI agent and go through their dang closets and through their basement, through their attic. You need to ask some hard questions to these people who are watching your kids, because these people watching your kids may not have the best interest for your children, and are doing things to your kids that your kids wouldn't even know how to articulate. So you get some freaking balls and go look in people's stuff and find out who the hell they actually are before you leave them with these people. Even with some of these teachers as well too, you need to understand that there's people out there that don't have your child's best interests at heart, and they want to use your kid as a freaking prop or for something else. So just do me a favor. Me and my wife watched this thing over the weekend, and had something to do with Pizzagate. And I thought, when I first heard that term Pizzagate, I thought it was like some freaking round-table pizza caper or something like that, right? I thought it was something like that, but it was something much more sinister. The deal is that there's an actual industry out there that has been using children. It comes through Hollywood. It looks like that. So wherever it goes, I'm gonna start asking some questions. And wherever I find, like I said, we're missing journalists. So I just want to know. And no matter who this Maxwell female is, and whoever Epstein was associated with and what they were doing on that plane, I just want to ask some questions without worrying about who it affects and who it impacts, because I know that it impacts children at the least. So you being who you are, when you got all these people yelling, screaming on the TV, talking about, I'm mad at this or I'm mad at that, but they're basically glossing over the fact that there's an actual conspiracy freaking happening that's involving little children. You understand this, Kay? On the couch, you're looking at this, you're saying something's wrong, and there is something wrong. It's involving kids. And we can do our due diligence to help children out. And I'm hoping that you basically would kind of link arms with me on that, because kids need to grow up without having that stuff on them. You're talking about a really rough road for a lot of kids. Depression, suicide, sex addicts as children. This stuff is real, and it doesn't need to be real for these kids. And we can do better as a society. And I think that you can do better as well too. So when you see me, I'm gonna probably do a couple other of these videos like this, but I'm definitely, pray for me, for real, because I'm praying for you. Take care.